Virgo, welcome to your monthly sidereal forecast for August 2015. My name is Athen. So we have a lot taking place this month, astrologically speaking. I'm going to go through it one by one through the month and highlighting the key points here for you. If you want more information, do check out your weekly where I'll go into these transits in more detail. So basically what we have is right at the beginning on the 1st, we have Saturn finally going station direct after his long 5-month retrograde, which is normal, but he has very long retrograde periods of your third and second house. So here we've got Saturn now going station direct in the second, where he had been transiting over the past few years in regards to your material values, your finances, your assets, your sense of self-worth, your abundance in life, especially on the material level. So Saturn going back in here is suggesting some lessons or hard work to be put into this area for one last final time before he goes back in there, which will be in the 29-year mark. He's not going to be back in there for about 27 years. So that energy here will be highlighted here this month because he's going to be there up until the 29th when he goes back into your third. So anything to finish up here, and again, you're already quite familiar with it because he's been here, but anything to finish up there in regards to that, saving money or getting disciplined with your assets or values, taking that stern approach to your self-efficacy, what you can do, what you can accomplish in life. It's a sort of self-esteem energy too, then that'll be a good way to work with this month. Saturn is a very important part of this month, actually. He's going to be forming a lot of aspects. So this energy here, being willing to take that part of your life seriously now for this month to finish that up before he goes into your third, which will be mostly the energy of next month and beyond. So that being said, usually the station direct period, we understand something or something shifts about that part of life. So maybe in regards to that second house for you. And do reflect around the first and second because sometimes some insights can come to us as well. So that being said, on the 3rd, Jupiter squares up to that Saturn, which is two polarity planets here. Jupiter's about expansion and possibility. Saturn's about making those possibilities into reality. Coming together is always something we can work on constructively, especially when it's a square energy like that. So there is this optimism about it. Just stay grounded with it, anything in regards to those second house matters. And be willing to, expand there as well with the second house. Like I was saying, it's a good month to put energy into that. So that'll be highlighting that. This is the first square between these two planets. They're going to be an ongoing square up until May of next year. But by that time, Saturn will go into your third and Jupiter will be in your 12th. So the last time in regards to mostly the material side of things. And Jupiter has been transiting your 11th house of groups, friends, community stuff, technology, expanding on those levels, your ideals, your vision, stuff like that. So continuing to expand on that stuff this early part of the month will be helpful towards, this stuff and integrating it, finding the middle path, so to speak, between the 11th and second house, which are very different houses in astrology, but can be very constructive when we do. So connecting to friends, tapping into those ideals and visions in that balanced way, etc. So that's the 3rd. And then also on the 3rd, Venus does go retrograde back into that 11th house, which is where there's going to be a lot of energy actually this month for you. It's where we're going to have the new moon and such. But Venus went retrograde last month, so there's these things that we're learning about our values and enjoyments about life. Venus rules your second house, and she also does rule your 9th house. So perhaps reflecting on the financial material side of things this month, understanding more about what you value on that material level, how you can enjoy those simple pleasures of life. And then of the 9th house, reflecting on your life path and philosophy, which is going to be expanding for all of us. But for you, especially when Venus conjoins up to Jupiter during this time. So this shift here around the 3rd will be for the next month and into next month about enjoying groups, enjoying those friends and community-related things, giving, contributing, technology, innovation, progressiveness, etc., which is the emphasis with all the other planets. But Venus here is showing you what you really value about these things, how you can really enjoy these things more. So really connect on that level, especially with the relationships and such. I would really recommend it. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to enjoy in that inner level with that. So that is the 3rd. And then from the 4th through the 7th, we've got a lot of activity. It's actually quite simple once you break it down. It's a three-way conjunction between Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus, all right here on the cusp of your 11th and 12th house. So Mercury and Jupiter going into your 12th around this time, while they conjoin up to each other in Venus, the stellium here. So what this means is essentially, first of all, with Jupiter, is always expanding things. So I think you might be quite optimistic about those values, about the finances, things like that, philosophy, and expand on that level. Just take it nice and grounded, nice and slow, like I was saying with Saturn, because Saturn is squaring up to this position of the chart, which just requires that extra maturity and serious approach to the matter. That being said, you can certainly enjoy home, family, and relationships this month with Jupiter ruling your 4th and 7th house, and Mercury does rule your 10th and is your ruler. So I think all in all, you guys should be quite optimistic, and maybe even about the career or public stuff this early part of the month. So very good. Just stay grounded, balanced, work with it, maybe in that material level or whatever it is, and then it can be very constructive. So that conjunction, starting new beginnings there. Also new beginnings relating to spiritual life, because you're going to have Jupiter now for the next year transiting your 12th house of behind-the-scenes activities about spirituality, connecting to God, having that rest and relaxation, that alone time, which will continue to expand for you over the next year. And this is where you can gain a lot of wisdom about these things too, and connect to things like relationships and home on that deeper emotional level, with rest and relaxation and stuff. So lots of expansion there. That'll be subtle over into the next year for you, but I think you'll notice that shift this month. So that is the up to the 6th, and then right around the 6th and 7th, Mars does trine up to Saturn for the second and final time. So that's quite nice. We've had this good assertive energy, this good flow with productive things, which is going to come back this month around that time. Again, relating to 2nd house and 11th house, which in regards to the 11th house is, those values, those ideals, those larger things, larger than self, those visions, and maybe even, spending time with, like I was saying, friends and community stuff can flow quite nice, can get a lot done if there's anything involved with that. 11th house is also the values and income we derive from our work, since it's the 2nd from the 10th. So putting energy into that stuff now this month and onward with Mars transiting the 11th, I think will be a good way to work with that energy as well. And as you can see, Mars is pretty well aspected. So I think the energy and vigor is still high for you, because Mars is at the top of the chart. He is debilitated, though, in Cancer over here. But I think in general, taking it slow with this tranquil energy, rest and relaxation. At the same time, though, with this trine, there can be a lot of constructive energy for you to, in a balanced way, put towards those visions and ideals and community group stuff. So that's going to be Mars for pretty much this whole month as he transits that 11th. But there's a lot of activity here in the 11th. And we're going to have that new moon here on the 14th. But before that, on the 12th, one thing I want to mention about this month is Mercury is going to be opposing up to Neptune. And he's the first to oppose up to Neptune as these fast-moving planets will start to go over this position over the next couple months. So the important thing here is that with the new moon and everything, there is this balancing act between the tranquil energies of life, the spiritual stuff, with the day-to-day stuff, the work, the health, the routine, the diet, which has been Neptune transiting your 6th. So with Neptune here, it's about having that faith and trust and flow about these 6th house matters, and aspecting up to the 12th actually kind of balances it out, because Neptune does naturally rule your 12th house. So the key here is not going to any extremes, I would say, this month in regards to rest and relaxation, but at the same time, bring in that meditative approach, bring in that compassion, bring in that peace into the work, the day-to-day stuff, the routine health, and I think you'll find a good balancing point between these. But faith and trust and all that is going to be highlighted this month, especially because we're talking about your ruler Mercury. So around mid-month, it's a kind of thing where Mercury in the 12th, it's not an energy where we can figure everything out. It's important we don't try to figure everything out. In fact, we have that, more intuitive approach to things. And you can learn quite a bit about intuition, maybe your psychic abilities, dream space, things of that nature with your ruler transiting the 12th this month. But as you can see, things are certainly subtle. It's about rest and relaxation, because pretty soon you'll have a lot of new beginnings shaping up for you in the first house soon. So that is the 12th, and then the 14th is that new moon. So new beginnings relating to friends, groups, community, giving, contributing, income from work, everything 11th house related. And it's conjuncting up to Venus, which is quite nice. So maybe new beginnings in regards to your values and material finances, perhaps, and even philosophy and life path and travel and things like that shaping up could be possible as well. So it's always a good idea to reflect around this time. Mid-month, the energies will be low with this new moon and all this activity in your 12th. So take it easy, take it slow. Mars is there though, so you should have some energy to put into it in that balanced way. And yeah, any new intentions you set at this time can be implemented this month and for the next 6 months relating to that 11th house and anything really Venus related. So that being said, everything's pretty much quiet up until the 21st in terms of the major aspects. But on that time, the sun goes into your 12th. So this is where, just adding to the mix, where there is a lot of this 12th house activity for you, an opportunity here for you to connect to that spiritual life. The sun coming in here can really magnify that, really illuminate that. Remember, the sun will be squaring up to Saturn as he transits in there, so taking those things slow and staying connected to your senses, connecting to nature, that'll really assist you with Saturn in that second house. It's really grounding you. Things like nature and your senses, the good meal, the rest, the relaxation, when it's done in that balanced way. And that can be supporting a lot of this 12th house activity for you. Now, it's a very optimistic month, though, with all that activity with Jupiter. And then, at the end of the month here on the 26th, the sun will be conjoining up to that Jupiter in the 12th, while, of course, it opposes Neptune. So remember, keeping that balance there. But in regards to this, it can be some new opportunities spiritually. I mean, the sun rules your guys' 12th house. The sun's in dignity. Jupiter's in the 12th house. So it's really, really emphasizing this. And what's interesting about this is when that happens, your ruler will start to go into your first. As you can see here around the 26th. So something's shaping up about spiritual outlook on life, about wisdom in regards to those things, about your emotions, relationships, perhaps things like that, because it's Jupiter. But it should be creating some energy and some motivation, because let's look at this in the big picture. You've got your North Node transiting your first house, where he's been pretty much this whole year and will continue to be up until around November. And now your ruler is going to conjunct up to the North Node, really activating it, and in the first house. So there's this direction this year, which is about you, and it's about your goals, your drives, your ambitions, and things like that. Whatever this, new wisdom and expansion about spiritual stuff that's unfolding, or those other areas I mentioned, it looks like it's quite, it's going to be facilitating this energy. And I think your vigor will start to build at the tail end of this month, and then especially into September. With Mercury continuing his transit of your first house here. So much to learn about life path stuff, and it's all about that learning process, as it is for you Virgos, wanting to discipline, take care of the routine, day-to-day stuff, and that'll be a good energy to work with this later part. And one thing I want to mention too is on the 29th, Saturn will go back into your third. This is a subtle energy, and it does depend on your personal charts, but Saturn will slowly start to shift into your third going into September. So now for the next 2.5 years, really disciplining that, the communications. And you got a little taste of this early part of the year with Saturn, going in there and then going back out. But here now for the next 2.5 years, discipline communications, your mind, disciplining the mind, wanting to learn. This is where Saturn, it's important to utilize the energies of Saturn in that very patient way. Saturn, it's a time too where things are still kind of, in terms of your big picture things in life, like career and structures and systems, it's not quite going up. It's still down here at the bottom where Saturn doesn't really like to be. Saturn actually likes to be either at the top or in the 7th house over here. But what you'll notice is that right now it's the important time for you to be really focusing on how you're thinking about things, your perspectives on things, disciplining that, and taking care of the day-to-day stuff as you normally do, and really wanting to focus and get better at how you think, how you communicate, how you exchange. And all of that will be building a foundation for you mentally. It's your mind here, as Saturn starts to go through the rest of your chart over the next many years. So discipline there, patience, and working hard, but in a balanced way with anything on that day-to-day level. in a way that you're learning. And that's what's important about Saturn in the third, is you're learning about this stuff and you're willing to learn about life and what lessons you're learning and stuff like that. So that's going to be a subtle energy. Like I said, you'll notice this more next month in September. Now around this time too, we have the full moon on the 29th in Aquarius. And this is happening in that 6th house of yours. So with all this, spiritual stuff, there's culmination now, and there's it could be over the past 6 months too, in regards to your work, in regards to your routine, your health, the day-to-day stuff, being of service, your crafts and things, which can be coming to a high point now and really illuminating that. So see that, be aware of that around the 29th, but it can culminate. It can be, again, spiritual. There's a lot of spiritual understanding about this full moon, but for you, it's aspecting your 12th. So it's this balancing act too of the grounded energies of the day-to-day stuff and bringing in that spiritual stuff into it, and vice versa. Maybe there's some discipline. And this stuff you Virgos naturally are good at anyways, which is the 6th house stuff, like discipline in terms of meditating perhaps, or making sure your routine's good so you do have enough alone time and relaxation time, etc., because that's where all the opportunities are coming in for you. So that's the 29th full moon, and then at the very end of this month, on the 31st and 1st, we have this conjunction between Venus and Mars going into September. So this is in regards to the 11th house. So everything you learned about groups and networking and internet or whatever technology stuff that you value about those things, it's a good time to put energy into it with Mars, but especially at the end of this month when they conjoin, because this is a balancing of yin, yang, masculine, feminine, can be very passionate, very powerful here. That can really trigger a lot of these 11th house things for you. Also, at the very end, the sun will be opposing up to Neptune, just really emphasizing that importance of balance between the spiritual and material elements of life. So, Virgo, have a nice month. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If you're new to Sidereal, do check the description, because this is different from tropical astrology. And check out the website if you'd like a personal reading. All right, Virgo, have a nice month. Take care.